Alright, what's up everyone, and welcome to the SBL Season 1. I'm joined today by my cousin, Rock.
What's going on, guys? I think we're going to do a brief team review here today with Fern, and I hope it's going to go well. I think we have a really, really good set of coaches for the first season, and I mean, some of these teams are absolutely ridiculous.
That they are. We did our draft in pretty much one day. It took a couple hours because people kept going in and out. We just did it real quick though.
Yeah, it really ended up coming together very well.
That it did. And without further ado, we're going to showcase each team to you, we're going to go in the order of how they were drafted. And believe it or not, Rock here was the first person to draft his Pokemon, so we'll go to his team now. And Rock's team name is Leopard City, which is a parody of Leicester City from the Premier League Soccer. His team is Terrakion, Feraligatr, Chandelure, Tornadus Incarnate, Diancie, Liepard, Mega Sceptile, Jirachi, Rotom-Wash, Trevenant, and Miltank.
Well, my first overall pick, because I had the wheel pick in the draft, the number one pick, I was thinking, I need this mod. He is so underused, but he's absolutely amazing, and the only reason he's underused is because his ability is kind of bad. Mega Sceptile, and it didn't cost me any of my draft points, so I was thinking I'm gonna have my full 400 for all my free picks. I'm not gonna spend anything on a Mega, and I'm gonna go with this in the beginning and open up the draft strong and know where I'm going with my team. And then my second pick was Terrakion. Earlier in the Spriter Battle League chat earlier today, people were talking about how they didn't think Terrakion would be chosen, and I really didn't know why. He's a very, very solid mon. He can go a lot of different ways. He's a very good physical attacker. Feraligatr is just a great water type. Then you have Chandelure. Everybody knows Chandelure's power. Tornadus is just versatile, and even in its carnate form, he's very strong. Diancie, honestly, was just a fairy type. I needed a fairy type. That's kind of ridiculous.
And he's my mascot.
And it's Fern's mascot. And then I had to get Liepard because it was the mascot. Jirachi is just Hack Scott, Rotom-Wash, Bulk, Trevenant, Ghost type, Miltank, Bulk. You know, I think I ended up coming out with a really solid team here.
Yeah, your team does look really threatening, I'll tell you that, at least on paper.
At least on paper.
Yep, that's the big selling point for all this. Alright, next up we have Omega's team, the Philadelphia Tyrannotars. His team consists of Tyranitar, surprise, surprise, Mandibuzz, Venusaur, Arcanine, Rotom-Mow, Scyther, Mega Blastoise, Porygon Z, Serperior, Dragology, and Dusclops. And on paper, this looks like another pretty interesting team. He could go a lot of ways with this team, to be quite honest.
He really could, and you know, I'm honestly not familiar with a lot of the competitive mons on his team. I've used almost every Rotom everybody has, and I've used a Tyranitar before. But I'm kind of curious to see what more of your thoughts are on this, because I haven't had many experiences with these mons.
I have spent a lot of time in UU, so I'm pretty familiar with at least Mandibuzz, Porygon Z, Arcanine, and Dragology. Mandibuzz is really defensive, and it could provide a lot of support for your team. Porygon Z is really versatile and can hit like a truck in the right circumstances. And going back to Mega Blastoise, he's even UU. Mega Blastoise, he puts those cannons on his arms and back to use. Trust me, he hits like a truck. Arcanine can perform very well offensively or defensively, and Dragology can hit like a truck, especially with the adaptability. Hello, adaptability, Draco Meteor.
Exactly.
Yeah, Omega can be a threat if you're not careful. Alright, moving on. Our third pick goes to Lux, and she is the California Volbeats. Her team, looking pretty scary, is Clefable, Breloom, Cloyster, Honchkrow, Drapion, Xatu, Tyranitar, Mega Tyranitar. Her mascot Volbeat, Haxorus, and Miss Magus. Oh boy, this team.
in my opinion, Breloom is one of the most solid mons from Generation 3.
Oh, absolutely. I love Breloom.
And Clefable benefits so much from being a fairy type now. And Honchkrow is just always been so good. I've loved him since I first used him way back in the day. Haxorus is just a hard hitter. Miss Magius is a solid ghost type that gets a lot of move pool. A lot. Kingdra has been god tier since Generation 2. This is a deadly squad. And I didn't even mention Drapion. A literal sniper.
Absolutely. On the point of snipers, that's one of the two things I really noticed about Lux's team. Drapion and Kingdra both get the ability Sniper. And if any of you guys know Lux, she's pretty much a meme lord, and so she will 420 quickscope everybody with her two snipers.
Exactly. Don't doubt it.
Absolutely. And with Volbeat, I know exactly what she plans to do with that. She plans to tail glow baton pass.
Exactly.
And she can pull it off too. I've seen her do it.
I bet.
Alright, and now for the fourth pick, we have Crimson and the Arizona Arcanines. I really like this team. He has Weavile, Togekiss, Tyrantrum, Chestnut, Flygon, Caracosta, Mega Manectric, Volcarona, Infernape, Luxray, and Cradily.
So, this team, now going and looking back at it, this team is very physical and it's got a lot of speed.
That it does, especially Weavile and Mega Manectric.
It's very physical and it's got a lot of speed, and that's what I've used to carry me through Nuzlocke. So I'm curious what these mons would use and how they would use in a battle with competitive movesets.
Absolutely. And of course he has my favorite Pokemon on his team, Flygon.
Flygon is a great mon. One of the best Gen 3 mons.
Absolutely. And of course, we all have our joke with Rising Infernape. He's there too.
Exactly.
And if Rising Infernape, if you comment on this, you were thought of in this draft. I'm just going to leave that there, and we'll move on to our next team, which is ACAT and the Columbus Chatot. I hate his team so much, I'm just saying that right now. He has Skarmory, Slowbro, Amoonguss, Sableye, Sigilyph, Whiscash, Mega Charizard X, Umbreon, Espeon, Gastrodon, and Mienshao.
I think this squad has a lot of potential.
Oh, it has potential, no doubt.
Especially with that Megazard and a Gastrodon who gets access to Storm Drain. With some very tactical switches, this team could very easily run train.
Oh, absolutely. And just the amount of bulk he has in this team. Just look at it. Skarmory, Slowbro, Amoonguss, Umbreon, Sableye, and to the extent Sigilyph. And Gastrodon.
Umbreon is one of the most annoying mons to go up against.
Absolutely, because it doesn't die.
It's so specially defensive.
And that's the thing about those Pokemon I mentioned. They don't die.
Exactly.
This is a wild and crazy team.
Very much so.
I know this much though, I'll be bringing Stall Breaking against him whenever I face him.
I think I was looking at the schedule and I have him round 1.
Yeah, you do. It's crazy.
Very crazy.
Alright, and moving on, our 6th pick was Pitina and the Miami Manaphies. His first pick was his mascot Manaphy, and the rest of his team is Celebi, Heracross, Smeargle, Slurpuff, Lovedisk, Mega Diancie, Azumarill, Emboar, Bastiodon, and Registeel.
So these mons are very interesting, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So Manaphy is a great mon. It gets access to very, very good boosting moves such as Tail Glow.
That's really all it needs is Tail Glow.
I know. And Celebi is just so balanced. So balanced.
That he is.
Heracross, also a amazing mon. It gets access to very interesting typings. Smeargle, I believe, doesn't Smeargle get access to every move?
Yep, because of Sketch.
Because of Sketch. Slurpuff is a very, very good fairy type. Love this is water. And then Mega Diancie is bulk. It's a wall. Azumarill is just play rough. Emboar, I don't use most of these mons.
I will say this much for Emboar though. I've seen Emboar used in draft format before, and it is very, very underrated with what it can do. It hits like a truck.
I know it gets access to a good amount of fire moves, and I don't know much else other than that, because I know some fire starters get kind of sort of screwed on that kind of stuff.
And being firefighting.
It's an interesting typing. Bastiodon, I've literally never used that.
It does one thing, sturdy metal burst.
Okay, so it's a steel type. I have literally never gotten the shield fossil.
Oh, there you go.
Registeel, great mod. I love all the Reggies. Regirock is, I don't know why he's so underrated, but he gets access to Sturdy now, which is very good. Registeel, I personally like Registeel the best. I don't know, I'm just kind of sort of attracted to steel types. I've always liked steel types.
I understand that.
Regice gets Ice Body, so you can Ice Body Explosion.
I guess you can.
Anybody? I mean, it's very hard hitting. That's all I'm saying.
That it is. And a couple things that stick out to me here are he has Azumarill and Slurpuff, which are two belly drumming fairies, both of which that can pull that off very well.
True.
And plus, 15 knows I hate Slurpuff, so that's why he drafted it.
Great.
And he has the Mega form of my mascot, while you, Rock, have the base form.
Yes, I do.
Yep, so we'll get to my team here in a few, but until that, I believe we have one of the most threatening teams, if not the most threatening team on paper coming up. Here with Zap and the San Diego Electivires. Look at this squad. Scizor, Salamence, Kabutops, Snorlax, Frostlass, Ampharos, Mega Houndoom, Melodic, Druddigon, Scrafty, and Heatran.
Honestly, this squad is scary.
Yeah, how did we let him draft all these threats?
I was too caught up in building something fun that I knew I could win with. And then by the time he had drafted Snorlax, it was kind of sort of over.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I was like, I gotta get power. And that's when I kind of sort of changed my layout a bit. But I still ended up with a good squad. And hopefully, when I do face him, I have a chance. Because this is so scary. Salamence is such a threat. Scizor has always been a great Pokemon, always. Kabutops, probably the better Gen 1 fossil. Probably.
I still prefer Aerodactyl myself.
Oh, I forgot about the old answer. Oh my goodness, no, Aerodactyl, you're right.
But Kabutops is still good.
Kabutops is still very good. Snorlax is just Snorlax, man. Leftover Snorlax, it's over. Ampharos, great mon. I don't know why a lot of people kind of sort of forget about Ampharos, but it's an extremely strong electric type. And then
it
is Ghost Ice. What's that about?
Frostlass, honestly, its best function is a suicide lead. It gets access to stuff like Taunt, Spikes, Destiny Bond. You can get like Thunder Wave, Icy Wind, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, what have you for its last move.
Right. Mega Houndoom is just what a mon.
Yeah.
You know? Melodic, I mean, you kind of sort of know it by the name.
Yeah, Melodic is actually really good in the draft format as well. It's really, really versatile.
It gets so much. So much. Good. Druddigon is just a good mon. It's a pure dragon. I mean, that's great, you know?
Yeah, I considered Druddigan myself at one point.
Yeah. Scrafty, you know, I haven't really used Scrafty much, but when I have used him, it's been in Wi-Fi battles, and he's been a very, very, very good mon.
Oh, Scrafty is really, really good. It can carry a team if you know how to use it right.
Right, and then Heatran is trans. I don't know what to say.
Heatran and Mega Houndoom are like perfect partners for Scizor because of Scizor's 4 times weakness to fire and, well, at least Heatran's complete immunity to fire. I forgot that Mega Houndoom actually doesn't have Flash Fire, just base Houndoom.
Right, right. And Heatran also gets very, very good moves. I believe it can learn Eruption, right?
I think it can, actually.
In a draft format like this, you want to bring all kinds of different moves. You want to try and catch them off guard.
Absolutely.
You want to change up the competitive mindset, but you still want to make a very strong team, and it's very interesting.
It is really interesting. Alright, moving on from Zap's team, we will introduce Arctis's team, the Green Bay Pachirisus. His squad is Latias, Entei, Whimsicott, Tentacruel, Zoroark, Meowstic, Mega Sharpedo, Magneton, Zangoose, Combuskin, and Sandslash. And let me just clarify with Meowstic, he has access to both genders of Meowstic, not just the male one.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, just looking at his team in general, the thing that sticks out the most to me is Zoroark, because Zoroark's my favorite dark type, just for the record, and everything about Zoroark screams shenanigans.
I'm gonna call shenanigans on Zoroark being the best dark type. It's Absol.
Well, alright then.
But Zoroark is still a very, very strong dark type, and he's definitely a threat. Definitely a threat. You can do things with crazy type movesets. Crazy, absolutely ridiculous type movesets. I think he gets access to things like Flamethrower.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It's very wild.
And then Mega Sharpedo is just speed.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to go first. And interestingly enough, he got the speed boost Combuskin.
That he did.
And then Sandslash, I've never used him in a competitive format, but he's a very, very, very good mon in game. I'm sure he would do very well in a format like this, especially in a draft format when you need that kind of wild card. And then he has access to a mon like Entei, which is crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, Giga Impact, I mean, EQ, like, insane.
It gets Sacred Fire now, too.
That's right. That's right, because of the event.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
And Latias itself is another pretty big threat, too, because Latias can do all sorts of things.
Exactly. It's a very, very, very versatile mon.
Yep, and just looking at that Whimsicott, too, I know shenanigans are going to come out of that thing, especially because, you know, it gets, like, a little something called Prankster Sub-Leech Seat.
Exactly.
That's the strategy I use with Whimsicott, not going to lie.
I am definitely going to have to figure out something to do against that.
Yep, it'll be interesting.
Very interesting.
Alright, moving on, now we get to my team, finally. I was one of the last picks, and my team is called Diancie United. My squad is Victini, Gliscor, Roserade, Galvantula, Aromatisse, Primeape, Mega Aggron, Latios, Suicune, Donphan, and Dunsparce. Yep, you're seeing that right. There's a Dunsparce on my team. And like I've been saying a little bit previously, my goal with Dunsparce is shenanigans. Because I don't know how many people know this, but Dunsparce can do the same kind of para-flinching shenanigans that stuff like Togekiss or Jirachi can do, just to a lesser extent. I plan full shenanigans with Dunsparce. Whether or not they work, that remains to be seen.
Well, I don't know if Dunsparce can quite pull a Jirachi.
It can't.
I mean, Serene Grace, it's kind of wild. But Victini is an amazing mod. It gets a Decreate. That's
absolutely.
Gliscor is I don't even know. Like, that thing needs a nerf or something, but you can't even nerf a Pokemon. And Roserade is so powerful. It's so underrated, but that thing will blow anything that it has a chance against back.
Basically.
If you know how to use it, you can blow anything away. Galvantula is just power. I don't know why that mon exists. I don't know why they made another spider, but I'm glad they did.
Hey, Galvantula is best spider.
No joke. Aromatisse, I've never really used it, but I've seen it used a lot, and I've seen it be very, very, very good. Mega Aggron is just pure power. You know, it gets so much boost from that Mega Evolving, you know? And it's one of those underrated Megas.
Mm-hmm.
And with also Latios, just like over there on the Green Bay Pachirisus, so much versatility. Suicune is just an extremely strong water type. And like you said, Donphan is just strong mon. And Dunsparce, it gets access to Paraflinch.
Yeah, that's all Dunsparce has going for it.
I mean, it's not a bad mon, honestly.
But yeah, my inspiration for drafting Victini first actually came from A-Drive and his work with the St. Louis Rampardos / New York Metapods. His ace is Victini. He builds his teams around that, and he usually does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And the combination of Mega Aggron and Galvantula is actually two different mons he's used with Victini the last couple of seasons of the GBA, and those two put in work together with Victini. Actually, they don't even need Victini to put in work. They can just put in work by themselves.
Right.
But yeah. Suicune is definitely one of the best bulky waters of the game, and that's kind of why I drafted him at the point I drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really use Suicune a whole lot, but hey, I'm hoping it pulls through for me. And of course, you know, Latios is Latios, so I mean, it kind of has the psychic redundancy with Victini, but you know, that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like Donphan has the ground redundancy with Gliscor, but they're two very different Pokemon.
Exactly.
Also, don't sleep on Primate. This thing can do some stuff to you.
Very underrated, very powerful.
Absolutely. Alright, we'll stop talking about my team now. We'll move on to Iron's team, the Germania Nidokings. His team is Hippowdon, Reuniclus, Nidoking, Blastoise, Cofagrigus, Golurk, Megastelix, Sylveon, Klefki, Tangrowth, and Rampardos. And let me just say right now, I wanted Sylveon so bad, Iron sniped me right before I got to pick this thing. But I'll leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that. Hippowdon, McDonald's, as I always name mine. Great ground type, very powerful. It's not even underrated. I can't say that. A lot of people know that Hippowdon's powerful. Same thing with you, Reuniclus. It's the psychic little jello. And then you have things like Nidoking, which
mascot.
It is his mascot. I just realized that. Very strong mon. Very, very good. Very good. It's been good since Gen 1. Hasn't changed. Blastoise also has been good since Gen 1. Hasn't really changed. Cofagrigus is... I don't know what to say. That thing with the Salt Vest is basically untouchable.
Basically.
Golurk is just... I mean, what? This thing is amazing. Like, I don't understand why it's so good, but every time I've ever used the Golurk in any sort of format, it's been great. I think the last Wi-Fi battle I had a few weeks back, I swept somebody with the Golurk.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. Like, this thing is great. And then Megastelix, I've never ever used a Megastelix. I don't know if it gains any typings or anything.
It doesn't. It stays steel ground.
It stays steel ground?
Yeah.
That's interesting. But what is its ability changed to?
I think it's sheer force.
Oh, okay. That's
I think.
That's actually really good. I might have to use him. And like you said, Sylveon is a Dragon Slayer.
Absolutely.
Klefki is friggin' Klefki. There's gotta be some stuff that's banned on that, right?
Swag play. Klefki's the reason Swagger was banned in Smogon.
Okay, cool. Um, Tan growth is pretty good. It's a solid grass type. And then Rampardos is a glass cannon, and he will do a scrap.
Absolutely. The one thing I notice about Iron's team is that it's very ground heavy. He's got Hippowdon, Nidoking, Golurk, and Mega Steelix, 4 ground types. But knowing Iron, he's a really good competitive battler, and he can work around his ground typing pretty easily.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about Iron. In fact, Iron can be looked at as a pretty good threat.
I'm sure he could.
Absolutely. Alright, we only have one team left. Our last team to draft on the day was Meep and the Lumiose Lampits. He has a really interesting team. He has Dragonite, Magnezone, Crobat, Jolteon, Dugtrio, Shedinja, Mega Gyarados, Ditto, Starmie, Doublade, and Lampit, his mascot.
Yes, indeed. Dragonite also has been good since Gen 1. Very powerful. It's just a solid mon. It gets access to a couple ice moves, which is actually really interesting on a dragon type, unless you're talking about somebody like Kyurem. Magnezone, also a solid electric type. I think it's electric steel.
Yep.
And that's also a very interesting typing. Crobat, we've seen it used in Nuzlocke. We've seen it used in everything. It's such a great mon. And then there's Jolteon, which in my opinion is probably the best of the first gen stones. I mean, that's probably like a little bit of a stance to take, but whatever.
Jolteon is really good. Really fast, too.
Very fast. That's why I liked him so much. He could outspeed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Trio, great ground type. It's Trio. I mean, Shedinja, Wonder Guard.
Yeah, Meep will pull off some Wonder Guard shenanigans with Shedinja. I know it.
Of it. And then there's Mega Gyarados, which since X and Y has been a pretty powerful Mega. When you had to go up against that thing, against Lysander, that was insane.
Oh, and Nuzlocke's like always do something to that Mega Gyarados.
Ditto is just, I mean, if a mon's giving you trouble, send Ditto out.
Yeah, it'll be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. Starmie is just power. I feel like Starmie got a little bit better, like from like Gen 2 to Gen 3, and like it got a little bit more powerful, and now it's just a great mon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Doublade is just why?
Why indeed?
Why? It's still Aegislash.
Baby Aegislash.
But it's pretty much still Aegislash. Like, it still basically gets the same move pool that makes it overpowered.
Yeah, except King Shield, thank the Lord.
Right? And then Lampent. I think I have Lampent's.
You do. You have Chandelure.
Yeah, I have Chandelure. But Lampent's still a very, very good mon. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what he does with it, though.
Oh, Lampent can put in some work if you let it.
I'm sure.
One day, or at least for one battle, I want to see you use Shedinja and Ditto at the same time. Double the shenanigans, double the fun.
It's probably gonna be round 1.
Yeah, knowing Meep, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Alright, and that's all the teams for the SBL Season 1. Do we have any other thoughts about any of these teams?
I just want to say that, in my opinion, some of the biggest threats this tournament are going to be Meep's Dragonite, Piptina's Celebi, Zap's Salamence,
Okay.
and your Victini.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what those mons will do. Everyone else just has very balanced teams, very strong cores. Y'all have something a little bit interesting going on.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't feel like any battle is guaranteed win for anybody. It can really go any way for anyone.
Exactly.
Alright, well, I think that about wraps it up here, so I guess we'll see you guys whenever the matches start.